Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Corissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. Do you aspire to live a fulfilling and abundant life, full of people you love, a career that brings you a sense of pride and accomplishment, hobbies that bring you joy? If you're anything like me, you may experience this nagging thought in the back of your mind that maybe it's not meant for you. All these pipe dreams are way outside your capabilities. When you constantly feel like there's never enough time, money, or opportunities, it's easy to be discouraged about your life, your future, and your potential. These thoughts and feelings are usually so ingrained that a lot of the time we don't even recognize that we're having them. I know that's true for me. The good news is that you don't have to stay stuck in a place of lack. Shifting out of a scarcity mindset can have a significant impact on your life. In this episode, we're going to cover how you can break free from scarcity mindset and create a practice that will help quiet your negative thoughts. Scarcity mindset is when you constantly feel like you don't have enough of something important to you. This could be money, time, or opportunities, just to name a few. These feelings of not having enough can make you anxious and lead you to make decisions that might not be in your best interest. Scarcity mindset can be pretty pervasive, showing up in everyday situations and so common that you believe them to be normal thoughts or just the facts of your life. It could be worrying about whether you have enough money to cover your bills this week, or feeling like there's never enough time to get everything done. For example, when you feel like you don't have enough money, you might hoard it or avoid spending on things that could improve your quality of life. When you feel like there's not enough time, you may overcommit, rush through tasks, or neglect caring for yourself because your needs are low on the list of priorities. Whatever focus your scarcity is taking, there is an underlying belief that resources are limited and that you are on the losing end of that game. Scarcity mindset can be slippery for sensitive women when it mixes with other limiting beliefs or unconsciously held conditioned thinking. Things like if you've adopted the role of caretaker and feel the need to be selfless in how you show up for people around you. Or if you're living in a culture where weakness and showing emotions is looked down upon, and you feel the need to hold back on expressing your emotions, or need to keep a stiff upper lip in order to not be perceived as weak. Recently, I was in the thick of scarcity mindset as I was preparing for a family vacation. And I found myself in a full-on panic attack when my thoughts were out of control, worrying about what I needed to get done before we all went on our merry way. The thoughts started out innocently. For me, it was triggered by my desire to have a comprehensive to-do list so that I could make sure everything got done. And then, when I looked at the vastness of this ambitious list, I fell into overwhelm about not having enough time for all of it. There was a little bit of perfectionism and feeling like I have to do it all myself mixed in with my time scarcity here, which made the panic and anxiety I was feeling a little more elusive to put my finger on in the moment. While these examples may not exactly match your experience, it is really interesting when you take the time to really dig into the regular narratives and beliefs you're operating under, and then take the time to dismantle the ones that no longer serve a positive role. Let's talk more about the common indicators of scarcity mindset. So many of us have become so accustomed to these thoughts that they just seem like facts. Maybe you avoid spending money on things you need because the narrative you're telling yourself is that you can't afford it. Or maybe you take on too many tasks because you feel like you need to be doing everything right now. Or maybe you find yourself in a form of analysis paralysis because you have said yes to more things than you can comfortably do, and your calendar is packed with all these competing priorities. While these examples aren't exhaustive, they show up in your life in a few self-sabotaging ways. Let me share a few scenarios that I've found myself in, but that I've also learned how to interrupt and overcome. So, especially when your kids are younger and more dependent on you to get things done for them, you may procrastinate and put off dealing with things in your life because you feel overwhelmed, or other responsibilities may be less urgent, but they take up all of your time. I'm going to include overcommitting to others in the procrastination category too, because it is all too common for sensitive women to put off dealing with their needs in order to satisfy the needs of others first. There may be instances where you focus on negative self-talk driven by perceived failures instead of progress, or engage in self-critical thoughts like, I don't deserve this, or I'm wasting time and money. This for me also includes guilt and shame. Things like feeling guilty for spending money on yourself, or side comments by others about whatever it is you're doing. If there weren't an underlying negative self-narrative going on that you are believing, or places where you agreed with the unhelpful comments of others, guilt and shame would be less of a factor. Perfectionism rears its head when you've set unattainable standards and feel like a failure for not achieving them, or you abandon efforts because they didn't pan out the way you had planned. This need to be or feel like everything is perfect can result in avoiding asking for help or support from others. This next area is one that fascinates me. When you self-sabotage by doing the opposite of the narrative in your mind, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, with the narrative of not enough money, you may find yourself spending almost exorbitantly in other areas and leaving yourself nothing for the areas you're stressing over. Or maybe you do it with food, overeating in the moment because you have a feeling of scarcity about food availability at the next meal. This can also include when you compare yourself to others who you see as having more resources, time, or success, or believing that your efforts are not enough compared to others, leaving you with feelings of inadequacy. The impact of these repeated cycles is that there is a negative effect to your mental and physical health. When you're constantly worried about paying your bills or running from appointment to appointment with little to no time to breathe, your body will go into a stress response. Some people will shut down Some people will go into an elevated response and stay in fight mode. At the end of the day, this added strain on your nervous system increases feelings of stress and anxiety, and not unlike my personal experience, can end with you in a full-on panic attack. It's no fun, my friends. I do not recommend. When you view your life through the lens of lack, your self-esteem and confidence suffer as well. You'll probably be seeing yourself as not experienced enough, or not smart enough, or not capable, none of which lend themselves to creating a comfort zone to put yourself out there or try new things, or to actually do the self-evaluation to determine if these thoughts are grounded in reality. When you're the achiever, always busy, not enough time individual, you'll find that your relationships may be strained from your overcommitment or lack of presence to the people you value. And you might find that you're so busy trying to fix what's already done or in front of you that you miss opportunities for additional personal and professional development. The worst thing I see happen is when sensitive women choose to put their own self-care on the back burner, when they're so busy trying to feel a sense of purpose, fixating on things outside of themselves, they overlook the abundance they can create from focusing inward on things they have control over. One of the things I love about scarcity mindset is that once you know about it, you have the power to shift it, the power to stop it in its tracks. And while it takes practice, it isn't something you need fancy tools or skills to do. It all starts with having the ability to see where in your life you look at things through the lens of lack. Where do you find yourself repeatedly saying you don't have enough? In order to put these thoughts down, you need a way to get the thoughts out of your head, down on paper, scheduled into your calendar, and therefore out of your mind. If your mind is holding on to what you need to do, keeping it on auto repeat because you don't want to forget that thing, your mind won't have space to do other things because it's using its energy to keep thinking that repetitive thought. Having a regular practice of getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper is one of the best ways you can create the space your brain needs to do the work you're trying to get done. When I was in the midst of my panic around prepping for the trip, there was this sneaky way that my brain kept having me feel like there was more to do than there really was, all because I hadn't been trusting what I had written down. By writing everything down, I noticed my brain was offering up different words for the same tasks, which when they were swirling in my mind, it felt like my list was ever growing, but in reality, it wasn't. Some discipline needs to be learned here because if you let your mind be in control, it will continue to spin on these thoughts. So establishing a practice that gives you the confidence that you've acknowledged what's needed and set the time to get it done will empower you to remind your mind that it's all good when it does its job of reminding you of things. In the show notes, you'll find a link to the Charmed Morning Ritual worksheet that you can download to help you get all these thoughts out of your head so you can see them and start to untangle everything. When the unserving thought loops are presented to you in written form and you've given yourself the chance to whittle down the repeated thoughts, you have a better chance to organize your time, your finances, your core values, and beliefs so that they work for you instead of against you. You then have the space to create a roadmap that gets you to your final destination. As with everything else, You always have the opportunity to choose what you are focusing your brain on. And when you decide to no longer give your unserving thoughts the microphone, you can start to give more time to thoughts and affirmations that help you build your self-concept, the belief you have in yourself, your confidence in you, and your abilities. I'm going to recommend that you consider working with Honey Calcite to help you in addressing your scarcity mindset. Honey Calcite is this lovely honey-colored version of calcite and is great for its ability to boost self-confidence and personal power, which will help you in being able to tackle challenges and pursue your goals. Because it is associated with the solar plexus chakra, it will support you in overcoming procrastination and self-doubt by boosting your motivation and persistence. Honey Calcite has the ability to promote mental clarity and focus, so you will be supported in reducing overwhelm and making decisions. It is also great for helping you reduce fears and anxiety. To help you on your journey from scarcity to abundance, download the Charmed Morning Ritual worksheet from the show notes. Start by identifying areas where you feel lack, write down your thoughts, and organize your time and priorities. You can also join our free Charmed community on Facebook, where we talk about these things and support each other in overcoming what is holding us back. You can share your experiences, ask questions, and connect with like-minded individuals on the path to abundance. Remember, you have the power to shift your mindset. Begin today by taking small steps toward a more abundant and fulfilling life. This episode has been brought to you by Honey Calcite and Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. May we all recognize that our thoughts shape our reality so we can release all scarcity and embody a life of limitless possibilities and fulfillment. Blessed be, my friends. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self-Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.